feel unstoppable as Judy Robles, Jennifer Lopez, and the incredible woman that she portrayed, Dr. Judy Robles. The star of this film, Emmy winner, Cheadle and Jharrel Jerome. And last but certainly not least, I'm just going to call him the unstoppable one.
That's right.
Himself, Anthony Robles.
No.
All right, everybody. Anthony, I'm actually going to start with you because when I was watching this movie, I noticed, of course, your Rocky moment, how Rocky was an inspiration for you, the movie itself, but now you have your own Rocky moment. You have this film that is about your life, that is going to inspire so many more people than you've already inspired through your book, through your speeches. You know, what does it mean to have another full circle moment with this film?
I'm absolutely blown away, to be here tonight with all of you and to have these amazing people tell my mom and my family's story. It's absolutely incredible, but I'm just so proud of what has been told. The way they told our story, and I'm just so excited that everyone can see what unstoppable truly is. And that means that we all wrestle with a challenge. It's all about just overcoming that challenge, focusing on what you're capable of. So to be able to walk away to see this and really have this be a family legacy now, it's just, again, it's surreal. I'm blessed.
Judy, talk to me real quick about that family legacy, because at the core, this is a mother-daughter, or mother-son story. Sorry. Yeah, Judy, talk to me about that this is now part of your family legacy.
Anthony forced me to be in this position. I adore my son, and I am fiercely protective of him and all of my kids. So for him to inspire so many people based upon the struggles and the challenges that we've been through, but for him to just so positively portray himself and to be the man that he is, I'm honored to be his mom. I'm humbled that he gives me so much credit for being who he is. And there's a moment, and you captured it. And speaking of her, I know I'm talking too much, but she made it a point to say that I said, that's just Anthony, that's who he is, and that's what I've always said, and that's what I believe, but he always turns it back to me. And I'm honored and I'm humbled to be in this position. I really am, and I'm grateful to everybody here to take so much time and care into sharing our story. And it's been hard, and I've had to be vulnerable, and I've had to share a lot about myself that's not so great, but I believe that she captured me perfectly. So I'm truly blessed to be sitting next to this amazing woman right now, and for her to take on this role. I am.
Jennifer, what is that like to hear? Because that's the most important review that there will ever be.
I can't even look at Judy. I start crying. But that was great. If we look at each other, we start crying. We did the photo shoot today. I was like, don't look at me. To be honest, it's like a little bit like looking in a mirror when you look at another woman and who's a mother who has struggled in the way that she has. And we have very, very different lives. It is true. But at the core of who we are, I can understand a lot of what she's been through and the love of your children and when they struggle and what that feels like. and just wanting to be the best mom you can be for them. You know, Judy always says, I don't deserve, you know, the credit, the praise, and I go, you do. I'm always trying to remind her, like, you do, because I'm always trying to remind myself of the same thing. And I think it's just a thing that we as women kind of go through. We're always wanting to be so perfect. We're always wanting to be everything we can for our children. And I just related to a lot of what was going on here. And to have her, again, people were asking like what it is like to play a real person. And I've done it a couple of times, but it is a huge responsibility. And the one person's endorsement that you want, the one person that you want to like is the person you're playing if they're alive. And or their family, right? And so I'm also, I think there's a lot of humility up here and a lot of gratitude up here. And I feel exactly the same way. Very humble and grateful.
Well, I imagine the experience was similar for you, and also added on to by the fact that Anthony was on set with you. Tell everybody a little bit about that dynamic.
Yeah, that happened. Anthony was my body double and stunt double the entire film. So every day I was there, 14 hours a day. This man was with me. I was number 1 on the call sheet. He was number 1A. So you know, often as an actor, when you're on set, you're used to somebody who's dressed like you, who kind of has the same skin tone and height as you. But this guy was the guy I'm actually portraying. At first, this is gonna get awkward. At first, the pressure was, you know, the pressure was obviously there. But Anthony and I got to spend so much quality time before we even shot. We've been on this together since 2020, since before COVID and before the writer's strike. Literally Unstoppable is what the film is called, and that's his line. I got on the mat with him, and you know, he trained me himself, and we worked with his coach Brian Stiff from Arizona State University. So a lot of the time that we got to spend, it was less me, you know, going, hey man, how'd you feel about this? And what's this feel like? And more just being a fly on the wall and observing him, and getting to spend such quality time for so long almost made the, I don't want to say easy, because nothing about this was easy, but it just informed the work a lot. And I don't even know how often an actor really gets to spend such quality time with the person they're playing, but this is no longer the actor and the real life guy. This is a brotherhood and a friendship, so it's great.
No, truly, the dynamics on this film are very unique. This is not something that happens all the time. I know, Don, for you, you also got to spend a little bit of time with Coach Charles. How did that inform what you wanted to bring about him to the screen?
Well, you know, as Jennifer says, I think he saw it with his family last week, and he texted me, he's like, you killed it, you nailed it. She's right, that's the, you know, you want to get it right, and we wanted to all make sure we were telling Anthony's story and Judy's story correctly, and that we were really being respectful of it. And I came in, you know, kind of late to the game. This has already been in development, and they'd already worked together, and everybody was already there. And the first day I met Jharrel was on the mat. They were actually going through the choreography, and you know, Billy brought me in and said, I want you to see what these guys are working on. And I was like, holy shit, he's really wrestling. This is like, you know, there were no games. It was like, oh, everybody had to step it up and really, you know, not just honor the story, but there's you know, the veracity that we need to pull off, the authentic nature of it, which is, you know, testament to Billy and the team and Brian and everybody surrounding us. It just, you know, it like, you know, like Jharrel said, it wasn't easy, but it really felt like, okay, I'm settling into the real place. I'm settling into something that's, you know, really set up for me to do well in. And meeting Sean and getting a lot of access to him was great. You love it when you can hang out with the people that you gotta play and just pick things up that, you know, they don't even know you're trying to do. You're like really studying them a lot.
You really nailed those parables. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Billy, when it comes to the dynamic of, you have this amazing ensemble, and you do have a tricky technical story. It's a sports story, but it's also this you know, deep family story. How did you kind of go about initially balancing all of those tones and how you were going to use all these incredible actors to do so?
Well, you know, everything about this movie, everything I wanted this movie to be was authentic, and authentic in every way. And I think it's a testament to everybody here, because I felt similarly to get the responsibility of getting all this right. And the night I showed Anthony and his family the movie, and Judy and all the siblings and their spouses, it was probably the scariest night of my life. So, and thankfully they liked the film, but it was an out-of-body experience. You know, it's a credit to the screenplay. John Hyman who wrote a beautiful screenplay, and you know, we worked on it for over a year. You know, it was about making the wrestling part of the story. You know, the wrestling wasn't just wrestling; it was further the story and move the story along, so that so it all sort of it meshed together in just the right way. And so it was. I give a lot of the credit to everyone here and our screenwriter.
Anthony and Jharrel, I do want to talk to y'all about the wrestling and about the physicality of this performance, because there's also a story to be told there, and we're learning so much so often, Anthony, about you through the way that you wrestle. So what was it, and how did you two work together to kind of find those movements? And Jharrel, what did you kind of have to do to learn how Anthony moves?
That was the easy part, you know. No, I'm just kidding. You wanna take it first?
Yeah, first I just gotta give Jharrel a ton of credit, because the wrestling that she saw, it was very technical, but not only that, it was very unique, because I'm the only one that can move like that. And so really it was just tons of repetition, just being on that practice mat for hours a day, learning different angles, learning the timing, not only between each other, but with our opponents, just getting it dialed in the right way. And what I was really impressed with was that, there's only so much that we can kind of pull back. As you saw, it's very intense, this sport. So it's like at the end of the day, we're practicing over and over and over again. It's still, you're getting slammed, and you're still having to get back up, get slammed all over again. And and so just going through that with Jharrel, I was just amazed, because he was coming back every single time, putting everything into it. And there were a ton of former college wrestlers on set, and so I'm talking to him, behind watching Jharrel, going out there, and I was like, how long has he been wrestling? Because he looks like he's been doing this for a bit. But it's just that commitment to it, this constant repetition in that wrestling room. So.
And I think too, we did great in having everybody, all the supporting cast around, like you said, all the wrestlers that were there. That was also great for me to just, because I didn't come up wrestling, but to be around just in that environment all the time and just soaking it in all the time. It just helped to ground everything, really.
I mean, it was important to me that I met along the way and preparing for the film, I met so many people in the wrestling world. And first of all, I wanted it to be authentic, I wanted it to feel real, but then I felt this overwhelming responsibility, because it wasn't just like everybody here, Judy and Anthony and their family, but then it was like the entire wrestling community. And so it was like a lot of, but I was able to fill the movie up. Everybody was so anxious to be a part of it. Everybody in the wrestling world, so everybody in the film was like the real guys. The real person who announced Shane Sparks is the real guy who announced his match. I mean, the referee is the real referee who does the NCAA finals, and everybody through the film were Division I or Division II wrestlers. So, I just feel like it just gives it an authenticity. There's no way to do it, differently than that. It has to be filled with people that live that world.
I heard even too, once you got into the editing room, because for those of you who do not know, when I mentioned the Academy Award, that is for editing. You edited so many incredible films, including Fargo and Philadelphia. When you have these two performances and have to kind of meld them together, I understand that there were moments where you couldn't tell the difference between Jharrel and
I have to say, I agree. I mean, I obviously know, a fraction of what Anthony knows about wrestling, but yeah, there were times Jharrel worked so hard and got so good that there were times where it was like, especially near the end when we had all the visual effects done, and I was just like, wait, is that, and I knew, we had achieved what we needed to, but I couldn't even tell. But yeah, it was. I knew Jharrel, I appreciate that.
But Jharrel, yes, the physicality is only half the battle when it comes to a film like this, because it is also, you know, finding the essence of Anthony. So what was the key to that for you?
Well, I'll take it back to the first time I saw Anthony at all was a YouTube clip, maybe a 12-minute interview of him. I believe it was after a match somewhere on campus. I can't remember, but he was the nicest guy in the world. I mean, so charming, big smile, so bright and vibrant. And then the next video I saw was him in a match, slamming this man down. And that duality excited me so much. I wanted to, you know, often in a sports film, our lead character is this brooding guy who's tough, and we see the physique and the muscles and the grit, and then when he has the soft moment, it's just a tear, and then he pushes through it, and yeah, you know. But when I speak to Anthony, I see the kid, you know. I see someone who is humbled and someone who is gentle and soft-spoken, and so I wanted to find those layers, and I give credit to Billy. You want to give credit to me? Right back to you for being so damn close to my face throughout the film, because I didn't know you were so close. But I think when I watched the film, I had a hard time watching. I always have a hard time watching myself. I had an extra hard time because I was looking too deep into my own eyes. And
You just get lost there.
I just got lost. I was feeling things. But I appreciated that, because when you talk to Anthony, you're captured by his eyes, and you're brought in to something that's beyond the big, you know, buff physique. There's a man there and a boy there. Does this all make sense?
Yeah.
I just wanted to find that.
Billy, tell me about those close-ups then, since that was your decision. Had you kind of seen that already in Anthony too? Was that an intentional thing you captured, or something that came through via Jharrel's performance?
Well, it's a combination. I mean, I wanted to put the audience, you know, in Anthony's, you know, to feel like first person, and you know, in the wrestling, you know, to put him in the audience right there on the mat with the wrestlers, and you know, as an editor, you know, you really understand that so much of performance is in the actor's eyes, and you know, whether they're speaking or listening, and you know, you get so much out of their eyes. And Jharrel's such an excellent actor. That you know, it just kind of informed the way I wanted to shoot it, and when I was in the editing room, those are the takes that, you know, gave me the kind of emotion that I wanted, you know, to the audience to experience.
And so much of that we do experience, because this is, as much as you were saying, this kind of big sports story, it is also such an intimate portrayal of this family. So Jennifer, I come to you next. In capturing Judy, what was something that was really important when the two of you first started talking, that you wanted to make sure was a part of this performance?
I think for me, you know, when just getting to know Judy and talk to her about her experience, you know, I wanted to get her to, first of all, feel really comfortable, to trust me, to be able to open up to me about what that family experience was really like, because the way it was written, you know, it was just kind of trying to find that very complex relationship she had with Bobby Cannavale's character. And then who was amazing, I think, in the movie too. And this very strong relationship and unique relationship she had with Anthony. And how they kind of were not just like mother and son, but they kind of raised each other. They kind of, you know, because she had him so young, and she was with him alone before her other children were born. He was much older than them, not much older, but you know, a little older. And so it was just kind of really tapping into the, God, like it's almost like a torment that you have with your, when you're struggling with who you are and you want to be a great mom, you know. And I think a lot of women can identify with that. A lot of probably fathers can identify with that. But for me, it was about making sure that as kind of cheery as she can be, as kind of positive as she was with her children, that I didn't shy away from or let Judy shy away from. That the struggle is what makes the story incredible and overcoming that struggle. And so I had to really show that vulnerability and that pain and that she had gone through, which I understood a bit. So I felt like that was my biggest responsibility, is to make sure that I, really showed those parts that nobody wants to show, I think.
Because it's a lot prettier to show just the strength.
Oh yeah, you can just be like, oh, she was such a great mom, and she was. She is. She's a fantastic mom, and Anthony, is always saying that and always giving her credit for who he is to Judy. But she also had her struggle that he helped her overcome, and that she needed to, kind of face herself at a certain point in her life to become the woman she is today. And we all have to do that at some point, and I give kudos to her for doing it so young. Some of us take a little bit longer. So yeah.
Well, I want to touch on that scene that you just mentioned, when Judy and Anthony come together, the scene around the box of letters. And you really have that moment of opening up about how hard it was as a young mom raising your son and trying to find that place. Jennifer and Jharrel, I would love to hear your experience filming that scene and what it was between the two of you that you wanted to get across.
Tell me which scene you're talking about again?
The letters when you guys are.
Oh, the letters. Oh my God, the letters scene. Do you remember that day? The letters scene.
Yeah.
You want to go? You can.
No, you go.
So that was a scene, and I actually added a lot to that scene. I ad-libbed some things, and I asked Billy, do you mind if I put this in? Because it was stories that Judy had told me about how she felt when he was born and how she felt like it was her fault. They never really, understood why he was born with one leg, and she just carried that with her. And I said, can I please put that part in there? I think it's important for Judy, to understand her, but also to understand that she had fault in kind of the family dynamic by choosing, to stay with someone who wasn't really great for their family. And, and I go in there and I'm all ready and I got all my lines in my head and I got all my ad-libs that I'm gonna do and the things I'm gonna add and all that. And I'm going through the first take and I just feel like all this emotion, I feel all these things and I feel the thing, and Jharrel's right there with me. He's always like, right there, you know what I mean? And we're doing it. And somebody on the crew's phone rings in the middle of the scene.
Was it yours?
Fuck no. No, it's not mine. And I just got so thrown. And I was just like, oh God, this is the scene, and I was just saying, the guy felt so bad. And I felt so bad because he felt so bad. And I'm just like, oh God. And I just get back to it. But we got through it. And then it is one of my favorite scenes. It's the unstoppable scene. You are unstoppable. And I was like, I'll be damned if I'm not going to deliver this scene because you fucked up my flow.
Brandon's cell phone cannot stop you.
You blew my mind. But stuff like that happens, and you have to kind of just get back in it. I don't know if that's what you remember from that day, but that's what I remember from that day.
I think you remember that better than I do. Oh, I mean, yeah. All of that, yeah. All of that. Well, it's cool that you.
Proud of your son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, even though I fucked up and I feel like all of this is my fault, I did good. You are amazing, and don't let anything make you think you're not amazing. And I think that's the essence of Judy. You know what I mean? It's just I know I made mistakes and I did this just like any other human being on this earth, but I did something right with you. And I'm proud of you, and I love you.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that is truly the takeaway from this film, that we all, as you said, Anthony, as we walked out, we all have things that we're wrestling with, but we have to keep going, because y'all are, everybody here is, particularly Anthony, I'm gonna say, Anthony and Judy, you are unstoppable. Thank you all so much for joining.